February 3, 2021. The morning chill hung in the air as students shuffled across the Rosedale Community College campus. In Aurora, Illinois, February meant slate-gray skies and temperatures that bit through layers. Most students hurried between buildings with coffees clutched in gloved hands, breath clouding before them. At 8:17 a.m., security cameras captured 22-year-old nursing student Jillian Ward crossing the main quad. She wore a navy pea coat, her auburn hair tucked beneath a cream-colored beanie. She waved at Megan Donovan from her anatomy class, flashed her ID at the entrance scanner, and disappeared through the double doors of Crawford Hall. It would be the last confirmed sighting of Jillian Ward. Detective Eliza Harding pulled into the Rosedale campus at 5:43 p.m. that same day, 12 hours after Jillian had left her apartment. The call had come in just 40 minutes earlier: missing student, no signs of leaving campus, increasingly concerning circumstances. They usually show up, her partner Detective Marcus Walsh said, scrolling through his phone as they walked toward the administration building. College kids disappear to blow off steam all the time. Not nursing students with perfect attendance and a half-finished coffee on their desk, Harding replied. And not leaving their phones behind. The campus security chief, Ron Dempsey, met them at the entrance. A retired cop with thinning gray hair and the permanent squint of someone who'd spent decades looking through windshields and into dark alleys. We've pulled all the footage. She enters at 8:17, waves to a friend, scans her ID. After that, nothing on any exit camera. Could she still be on campus? Walsh asked. We've done a building sweep. Nothing. Dempsey handed them a tablet with a campus map. But it's a big place with a lot of corners. In Jillian's apartment, her roommate Lindsay Pierce sat on the edge of the couch, fingers nervously twisting the hem of her sweater. We're not, like, best friends or anything. Different majors, different schedules. But she never misses class. Especially not cardio nursing, it's her favorite. Harding surveyed the small living room, noting the organized textbooks, the planner open on the coffee table. When did you notice she was missing? I got home around 4 and saw her phone still plugged in. That's when I called Megan, who said Jillian never showed up for their 10 a.m. class. Lindsay's eyes darted to the kitchen counter. Her ID is still here too. The backup one. You can't get anywhere on campus without your ID. But she had another one. Walsh clarified. Yeah, they issue two. Most of us keep one as a spare. Harding moved to Jillian's bedroom, meticulously organized, bed made with hospital corners. A nursing student's precision. On the bulletin board, a hospital volunteer schedule, class timetable, and several pictures of Jillian with a group of smiling friends. Nothing suggesting plans to leave, no notes, no packed bags. By morning, the investigation shifted from potential runaway to possible foul play. Security footage provided a ghost story, Jillian entering the building but never leaving. No cameras inside Crawford Hall showed her exit. It was as if she'd stepped into a void. Review the interior cameras again, Harding instructed the tech analyzing the footage. Every hallway, every stairwell. Already did. She walks down the east corridor at 8:23, passes the faculty offices, turns the corner toward the student lounge, and then, nothing. No more sightings. Walsh leaned over the tech's shoulder. What's beyond the student lounge? Just the connection corridor to the old gymnasium. Harding tapped her pen against her notepad. Show me the gym cameras. That's the thing, the tech said, clicking through screens. The old gym only has exterior cameras. Budget cuts 3 years ago. The interior system was slated for upgrade but never happened. With a dozen officers, they started a methodical search of the campus. The old gymnasium had been partially repurposed for storage and administrative overflow. The main floor still functioned for smaller sports programs, but the back sections had been closed off for renovation, a project repeatedly delayed by funding issues. 4 hours into the search, Officer Tanner radioed from the gym's storage wing. "Detective Harding, you need to see this." Behind a stack of gymnastics mats and through a door marked, "Maintenance Only," they discovered a narrow utility hallway. The fluorescent lights flickered, casting unsteady shadows across concrete walls sweating with decades of humidity. At the end of the corridor, a bank of lockers, rusted and forgotten. "These aren't on any campus map," Dempsey said, confusion evident. "This whole section was supposed to be sealed off." The second locker from the left was closed but not locked. Inside, neatly folded, a gray Rosedale Community College sweatshirt that matched the description of Jillian's backup in her closet. Beneath it, a cheap prepaid phone and a spiral notebook with pages of scribbled notes. Harding slipped on gloves before picking up the notebook. Most entries were short, initials, dates, times. On the last used page, underlined twice, "He always says he'll leave her, someday." The burner phone contained only one contact, T. "Get this to digital forensics," Harding told Walsh. "And find out who has access to this hallway." The college administration expressed shock at the discovery of the utility corridor. "That section hasn't been on active floor plans since the 2014 renovation," explained Dean Patricia Morrison, a stern woman with a perpetual frown. "It should have been inaccessible." "Well, someone accessed it," Harding replied coldly. "And now a student is missing." Digital forensics recovered deleted text messages from the burner phone. "Can we talk? This isn't working." "Not now. I'll call you later. You said no one would get hurt. Stop being dramatic. If they find out I knew, I'm done." "No one's finding out anything. Lockers ready. Just tell me when." The search expanded. Jillian's laptop revealed deleted emails between her and Professor Thomas Leland, who taught ethics and communications. Initially professional, they gradually shifted to a more personal tone. The most recent exchanges had grown tense. One unsent draft in Jillian's account read, "I'm not your secret. If this isn't real, I'm done playing invisible." Professor Leland's office was located in the east corridor of Crawford Hall, exactly where Jillian had last been seen on camera. Thomas Leland sat across from Harding in interview room 2, his posture rigid, eyes constantly shifting to the clock on the wall. At 41, he had the polished look of someone who put careful thought into his appearance, pressed shirt, trimmed beard, signet ring on his right hand. "I barely knew Jillian Ward," he stated flatly. "She took my Intro to Communications course last semester. Average student. Nothing memorable." Harding slid photos of the locker contents across the table. "Then why were you exchanging emails with her until 11 p.m. the night before she disappeared?" His expression flickered, surprise, quickly masked. "Students email all the time with questions." "At 11 p.m. About meeting somewhere private?" Harding watched his hands, noting how his right index finger began tapping against his thumb. "And why would an average, unmemorable student have your personal phone number saved as T on a burner phone?" "I have no idea what you're talking about." Leland's voice remained steady, but a fine sheen of sweat had appeared on his forehead. "I'm a married man. I've been with my wife for 15 years. Where were you between 8:30 and 10 a.m. on February 3rd? "In my office, preparing for lectures. I had a class at 11. "Any witnesses?" "I work alone. But I'm sure security cameras." "The cameras show you entering the building at 7:45 a.m. They don't show you in the east corridor where your office is located." Harding leaned forward. "But they do show Jillian walking toward your office at 8:23 a.m. Neither of you appear on camera again until you exit from the gymnasium side entrance at 9:47 a.m. Leland's lawyer, who had been silent until now, interjected. "My client has cooperated fully. Without evidence of a crime, these insinuations are inappropriate." That evening, an anonymous call came into the tip line. The caller, later identified as Miguel Sanchez, a campus janitor, reported seeing Professor Leland leaving the side exit of the gym on the morning Jillian disappeared. He was breathing hard, like he'd been running. His face was all red. Claimed he'd been working out, but he was wearing dress shoes and khakis. No gym bag, nothing. When confronted with this information, Leland maintained his innocence. "I was taking a shortcut. My car was parked on that side that morning because the faculty lot was full." Parking records showed his faculty pass had been scanned in his usual spot. Leland's wife, Catherine, stood beside him during a press conference the next day. "My husband is a dedicated educator being slandered by rumors. We pray for Jillian's safe return, but Thomas had nothing to do with her disappearance." Catherine Leland was the daughter of the college's most generous benefactor. The science building bore her maiden name. Detective Harding began digging deeper into Jillian's life. Her class schedule revealed an interesting pattern. She had arranged her courses to have a 2-hour gap every Monday and Wednesday morning, precisely when Leland had no scheduled classes. Lindsay, Jillian's roommate, remembered more details when questioned again. "Sometimes she'd come home smelling like this cologne. I teased her once about having a secret boyfriend, and she got really defensive. Said it was complicated. That he wasn't free." 3 weeks into the investigation, with no body and no concrete evidence of a crime, pressure mounted to scale back resources. Jillian Ward became another face on another missing persons flyer. Harding couldn't let it go. She kept returning to the utility corridor, convinced they'd missed something. On her 4th visit, she noticed scuff marks on the floor leading to a supply closet opposite the lockers. Inside, behind shelves of cleaning supplies, she found a loose ceiling panel. Above it, a small space containing a woman's watch, identified by Lindsay as Jillian's, and a monogrammed handkerchief with the initials TL. It wasn't enough for an arrest, but it kept the case active. 2 months passed. Spring washed over the campus, students returned to their routines, and Jillian Ward became a cautionary tale. Professor Leland remained on paid leave, his lawyer issuing occasional statements about his client's innocence and the toll of unfounded accusations. Then came the anonymous email to the tip line, campus server, untraceable account. It contained only an image, the visitor's log of a motel 30 miles from campus. Highlighted, 6 dates over the previous 4 months, each showing the signature, Thomas L. All corresponded with Jillian's free periods. The motel manager recognized Leland's photo. Yeah, he was a regular. Always paid cash. Sometimes with a young lady, red hair. They never stayed long, 2 hours max. Harding felt the case building, piece by fragmented piece. But still, no body, no crime scene, no proof of anything beyond an inappropriate relationship. Summer arrived, the campus quieted, and Jillian's case file grew thicker with leads that circled back to nothing. Until August 15th. A hiking group exploring the less-traveled trails at Blackwell Forest Preserve, 40 miles from campus, discovered a backpack partially buried beneath loose stone. Inside, a printed photo of Jillian and Leland at an outdoor cafe, her missing ID, and a set of disposable gloves. The discovery reignited the investigation. Search teams combed the preserve but found no further evidence. The backpack yielded few forensic clues, wiped clean of prints, standard brand available at any store, the photo printed on common office paper. "He's taunting us," Walsh said as they drove back from the preserve. "Leaving breadcrumbs but not enough to nail him." Harding nodded slowly. "Or someone wants us to think it's him." "You don't think Leland's our guy anymore?" "I didn't say that." She tapped her fingers against the steering wheel. "But something doesn't fit. The burner phone, the secret locker, that shows planning, caution. But then leaving evidence that points directly to him. It's either incredibly sloppy or someone's framing him," Walsh finished. They revisited Catherine Leland. Unlike their first meeting, she received them alone, in a pristine living room with family photos conspicuously displayed, a portrait of marital harmony. "Mrs. Leland," Harding began, "we need to ask about your movements on February 3rd. Her smile remained fixed, porcelain perfect. "I was at my father's company. Board meeting. All day. And you had no knowledge of your husband's relationship with Gillian Ward?" The smile slipped, just slightly. "There was no relationship. Just a disturbed young woman with an inappropriate fixation on my husband." "Interesting theory," Harding said. "Except we have motel records, Mrs. Leland. Witness statements. Photos." Catherine's composure cracked further. "Whatever Thomas did or didn't do with that girl has nothing to do with her disappearance." "How can you be so sure?" "Because I know my husband." Her voice hardened. "And because in 15 years of marriage, this wasn't the first indiscretion. But we always move past them." Later that night, Harding received a call from Walsh. "You need to see this." Found it buried in Gillian's social media. A private account under a pseudonym. The account contained posts hinting at a relationship with an older man, but more importantly, growing concern about someone else. One post read, "She knows. I can see it in her eyes when I pass her on campus. She knows and she's watching me." Another, "He says not to worry, that she's all talk. But I've seen what jealousy can do." And finally, dated January 28, "Meeting T1 last time. Either we go public or we end it. I'm nobody's dirty secret, and I'm starting to think she's dangerous." The case splintered into new possibilities. Had Catherine Leland confronted Gillian? Had Thomas disposed of a student threatening to expose their affair? Or was there another explanation entirely? 6 months after Gillian's disappearance, her parents established a scholarship in her name. Professor Leland resigned his position and moved to another state. Catherine Leland filed for divorce shortly after, citing irreconcilable differences. The utility corridor behind the gymnasium was sealed off, the second locker marked with police tape that no one dared remove. Students created their own legends around it, that if you listened closely at night, you could hear the echo of footsteps, a phone buzzing with messages never to be read. And every February 3rd, someone leaves a single red pen on the locker handle. The cameras never catch who. Gillian Ward remains classified as a missing person. Her case file stays open on Detective Harding's desk, the questions multiplying rather than resolving. Was Thomas Leland responsible for her disappearance? Did Catherine Leland's jealousy turn violent? Could Gillian have staged her own vanishing to escape a situation spinning out of control? Or was there another player entirely, someone watching from the periphery, someone whose name never made it into the investigation? The truth lingers somewhere between the recovered text fragments, the hidden locker, and the secrets buried under loose stone in a forest preserve. Just out of reach, but never forgotten.